Hello and welcome to Boomer 11. I am Sandipani and today we have Abel alongside us and we'll be previewing the game between England versus Sri Lanka. And also we'll be going through the fantasy segment as well. So, Abel, what are your thoughts on today's game? We have switched roles.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the first thing which came to my mind, and it was a last moment switch, and I was a little shocked. It's like, so yeah, good to be on this side of the seat for the first time. Maybe I think it's the first time I'm on this side of the seat in cricket shows. But yeah, to be honest, I'm quite excited for tomorrow's game for the very reason that it is a knockout for England. Let's be very honest about this. And for Sri Lanka, they have nothing to lose. They've been eliminated officially today, so England will be coming
Yeah,
out.
that is where I think I was really sad that Australia kind of got to the winning side
Yeah.
of the line tonight because if
Yeah.
Afghanistan would have pulled it off, then we could have had a potential quarterfinal tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every game from tomorrow is a quarterfinal, regardless of what it is. And it is going to be an interesting game for a lot of reasons. Firstly, it is going to be played in Sydney. So it is unlike any other ground in Australia, right? Where spinners can come into play a lot more, which will certainly help Sri Lanka. We know we told the same things about how spinners are going to come into play uh, for Sri Lanka in the last edition's World Cup, where Butler went on to score 100 against Sri Lanka in Sharjah. But I hope it's not going to be the case for tomorrow. I hope Sri Lanka really tightens the screws. I know Sri Lanka have nothing to lose, and they at least know they're eliminated, so the pressure factor is definitely off. And you know what, the Sri Lankan team, they are very inconsistent. You can say they're almost like Pakistan. One day they're up there on the top, next day they'll come out saying that how do we even do this? We have seen that through the course of the Asia Cup, they were consistent, but at the same time, you saw in the first game against Afghanistan, they just lost the plot. Even in the World Cup, first game against Namibia, they lost the plot. So I think there is a lot of inconsistency with this Sri Lankan team. That's why I think they're going to be unpredictable. And a team which is nothing to lose always going to be tough. And we already have some people predicting that England are going to. Dream Lover says England will win. England are going to be the favorites for sure because of the batting ability they've got. But then don't write Sri Lanka off. That's one thing I'll personally say. I want to know your thoughts on this game because we have always reviewed on Sri Lankan cricket and we know how good a team they are, especially with the likes of Hasiranga. They've got likes of Tikshana. And tomorrow, Butler is a player who has really played Hasiranga well. He's got a positive matchup against Hasiranga rather than a negative matchup. How do you see that working out? Because Sri Lanka's trump card is going to be Hasiranga, but at the same time, Sri Lanka will be operating with spin to start off with.
Yeah, definitely. I think tomorrow the key battle between Hasaranga versus Butler is going to be a very interesting battle that we'll get to see. We saw a very interesting battle between Bolt and Butler. Butler got the better of Bolt, like he had in the past as well. So very exciting. It is going to be a very interesting game, especially for England because they haven't been the consistent side that they would have expected themselves to be in this World Cup. They were coming into this World Cup with a very strong contingent. I mean, just look at the all rounders. I mean, Australia and England have the most, you can say, capable all rounders among the entire unit because almost entirety of the middle order are all rounders. You have Ben Stokes, Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone, Sam Curran. Everybody is equally capable with bat and ball. Probably they would prefer one suit better than the
Once
other.
again, I think we should take this question before you proceed. Brother, how can I win the
Yeah.
prize? So, Dream Lover, click the link in the bio right now. Go to our app, download the app, and play the fantasy contest out there. It's absolute free of cost to play, and you can also play the predictor contest. And if you predict that over there, you have a chance to win so many coins and also cashback and vouchers. And do play the fantasy contest so that you can be in there to win something exciting. So it's absolutely free of cost to play, and you can test your fantasy skills there. And it's one of the free to play platforms. Boom 11 provides you that opportunity, so don't miss out on that. Click in the link in the bio and download the app.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if you don't have to invest anything and then you get something in return, it's always better. So yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I think England and Australia have the most balanced sort of all-rounders in their mix. We saw Australia could not really replicate their performances of last year in T20 World Cups. We hope that England can come out of it. They lost a game. They lost a shocker against Ireland. But one might say that if we would have had a full game, I think
Hmm.
England would have come out on top in that game as well. Having said that, I think they did not look convincing in the game against Afghanistan as well. The only bright spot for them has been the game against New Zealand. But where I think I think the credit will go to obviously the opening stand between Alex Hills and Josh Butler, which provided the platform for them to actually go about and accelerate. Because I think the batting is the department that England has been lacking in this World Cup. And I mean, they were assisted by some drop catches as well. And I think there were a few issues with how they handled Ish Sodhi and Mitchell Santner, how they let them settle. If they do the same against Sri Lanka tomorrow, we know what Thikshana and Hasaranga can provide. And also there is Dhananjay Silva as well, and we are playing at MCG, I guess. Are we playing at MCG
Absolutely.
tomorrow?
No, they are
Yeah.
playing SC tomorrow, and
So
that's why it's
SCG.
gonna turn a little bit. But guys, I
Yeah.
want to
So
know your opinions on this, your predictions for tomorrow's match. I know a lot of people have given their predictions. Do comment your predictions, and who would you like to see India face in the semi-final against? Is it going to be England or Australia? And if you're a Pakistan fan, do let us know in the comments if Pakistan will qualify into semi-final as well. So keep the chats coming in so we can keep it an interactive session tonight. That's the whole point. I want you people to be involved tonight more than us. We'll try to take as many questions as possible. So keep asking your questions. Do give your I'll be asking a lot of questions to you people as well. So this is going to be a very interactive, fun session. That's what I'm looking at. Always be bringing you a lot of data
see, Abel,
and
if somehow India loses and Pakistan wins and qualifies to through to the second spot, I think Pakistan are going to face New Zealand nonetheless. Even if England wins tomorrow, New Zealand are the table toppers, and Pakistan can
I'm
only
just asking
go up to
from an
6 points.
Indian perspective. Who
Yeah.
do you want to face? If you're
Yeah,
an
so
Indian fan,
definitely
who do you
the
want to
thing
face?
between Australia and England, I think at this stage, according to me, if you have to win the World Cup, you have to beat Australia, you have to beat England, you have to beat New Zealand. And I think we would be, as Indians, I think we would be happier that we will not get to face New Zealand in semi-finals, because our record against New Zealand is far worse than what our record against Australia and England are in ICC tournaments. Because
Mm,
in recent times, if you see, we have got the better of Australia, and even you can say we have got the better of England in a couple of occasions as well. But New Zealand
yeah.
have been been our one nemesis. So I think
They're a
we'll
bogey
be
team for
happy with
us.
the fact that we won't face them in semifinals.
Right, and Rudra already says Australia. Good one. I'd say Australia is a good choice because you still give India a chance to go up against Australia in Adelaide. Australia are finding themselves in a spot of bother at this point of time because if you look, Australians haven't really gotten going. There are players who are out of form. They do struggle in specific areas where you can absolutely make most out of. When it comes to death bowling, even you saw that today as well. They have an issue there. Patrick Cummins is not the best of death, but they rely heavily on Josh Hazelwood. If you counter Adam Zampa, they will be looking for answers. And with a game, if you're taking on Australia, you'll be playing in Sydney, so which also means you can let your spinners come into the match a lot more, where you can strangle the Australian batters. Maxwell did score runs today, but then he still got issues. So there's an opportunity to absolutely come up against Australia and maybe take revenge of 2015 World Cup as well. So I don't mind Australia, but you never know about this. England will be a team to beat tomorrow, and I think it's gonna be a tough task to beat England for Sri Lankans at least. Let me know this, Sangibani, especially for Sri Lanka. Hasaranga is their go-to man. He's been their leading wicket taker in this World Cup once again. And when it comes to the batting, right? Who do you think can be the linchpin against England? Because they have to face Mark Wood, they have to face Chris Wokes. Maybe Chris Wokes is there; he can pick you up a couple of wickets up front. So, how important is it going to be
Yeah.
for Kushal Mendes? Kushal Mendes hasn't really gotten going this World Cup, though he did in a couple of occasions in the qualifiers. But in Super 12s against quality teams, he's really found it difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing that we spoke about quite elaborately about Kushal Mendes, the fact is that if he cannot get going in the first couple of overs, he gets a bit tentative. He tries to score too many. He tries to score those boundaries of every delivery, and that is never a good sight for a batsman if you're trying to score boundaries of every delivery, and eventually it leads to your downfall. So I think the important thing for Kushal Mendes will be to get a start. A cautious start would do for them, because I think with Mark Wood, Chris Wokes, and we can always see Ben Stokes coming in to bowl the first couple of overs as well. I think it is going to be a challenge for Kushal Mendes early on. But the one player that I actually think will come in very handy with the bat for Sri Lanka tomorrow is Dhananjay De Silva. Dhananjay De Silva has been pretty consistent with the bat at number 3 for Sri Lanka.
Yeah,
When Pathum Nisanka was injured for that one game, he came in to open the innings for Sri Lanka as well. And he can roll his arms and give you 2-3 overs with the ball as well. Because we all know that Sri Lanka does not have a very a very balanced or very experienced pace attack because of so many injury concerns that they had. So I think Dhananjay De Silva is going to be very important for their cause. Having said that, I think when we talk about Australia and England, I think both these teams have similar sort of compositions. Both the teams are star-studded with their all-rounder in their all-rounder department. They have 3 to 4 all-rounders in their playing 11. Then both the teams have an issue of ending the innings well, and that is where I think England have been a tad better than Australia when it
yeah.
comes to bowling in the death overs. And I think
But
Mark
especially
Wood and
Sam
Sam
Curran
Curran
has
will hold
been
the
their
key.
go-to bowler, isn't it? Because
Definitely,
Sam
I
Curran's
think.
performance in this World Cup has really uplifted England. One area where England were struggling even before the World Cup was their death bowling, and they really had to find a bowler. Chris Jordan was a designated death bowler, but then he used to go for a lot of runs. So they had to find a replacement for Chris Jordan and who could bat a little bit as well. And Sam Curran's improvement as a death bowler and his ability to bat has given them that cushion, or at least a guarantee that this lad can come in and bowl at 7 runs per over and pick up wickets. The best part about Sam Curran is that he's picking up wickets in the death overs, something which a lot of bowlers are unable to do. So once you pick up wickets, it's worth in golders, right? It's in golders, and nothing is better than no dot ball is better than a wicket ball, and it really slippers down the scoring rate of the opposition team, and that's where he's been able to have that upper hand. And Sam Curran's lengths in this particular World Cup, especially in the Super 12, has been on the fuller side. Something which we don't associate Sam Curran with. He's good with the slower balls. I'm talking about Yorker length that has really worked for him. Yorker length, especially landing it in the block hole more often than not. With Sam Curran, he's very good in the middle overs. He's very good up top. He can swing the ball, shape it a little bit, have a little bit of off cutters. But this Super 12 and just before Super 12 as well, Sam Curran has progressed a lot as a death bowler, especially landing it on the block hole. I also think it has to do a lot with conditions, drier conditions, no dew. He's able to grip the ball a lot more better in his hand. But if there's rain around in Sydney, which I don't think is going to happen, because what I'm able to check in the weather report is it's a clear day. If at all there's weather around, then it's going to be difficult for England. Then you're going to see England really shift the plan. Then they have to think again who's going to ball at the death. Can Mark Wood really go out there and ball? Because again, Mark Wood can be expensive on days. He's fast, but he can be expensive on days. If someone like a Rajapaksha decides to go after him, it can be trouble for England, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think death overs has been a concern for England as well over the past couple of years, but just the brilliance, the sheer brilliance of Sam Curran has helped them avoid any major bruises in the last couple of games. But I think this is if England will have to make a statement and sort of qualify to the semifinals and do well for the side, I think they will have to sort of find another bowler that can assist Sam Curran in the death overs as well. And I think Mark Wood is a very good option. But as you said, I would agree with the fact that Mark Wood on his days can go for plenty of runs as well. But I think he's a very sort of a because of the pace that he has, and he's in very good bowling form as well. So he gives you those wickets with the ball as well, both at the top of the innings and even in the death overs as well. Even if he goes for 10-12 runs in an over, he'll pick you those 1 or 2 wickets. And I think that is what Sam Curran does as well. And this is the only thing that has been being that is the main difference between this England side and the Australian side of this World Cup. Australia have not managed to pick too many wickets in the death overs with the ball, and also
Yeah,
there are some issues with the bat from both the sides, which they will definitely be looking to work on. Because when you look at the team on paper, you have everything. You have Moeen Ali, you have Alex Hales, you have Josh Butler, Ben Stokes, then there is Harry Brooks, there is the stability of Harry Brooks, and then there is the ultimate firepower of Liam Livingston and Sam Curran, who can come in and do wonders with the bat as well. And also, not to forget, Chris Wokes is not a joke with the bat. And also, everybody can come in and contribute. Mark Wood, Adil Rashid, everybody can come in and pinch a few runs as well. So if I'm in this England camp, I would still sort of give Adil Rashid a break and go with Chris Jordan, because again, even though he was bowling well in the last game, he started off well, but then again his figures were not really great. 33 without any wickets at the end of 4 overs. Glenn Phillips really took the liking on him and went after him. But it's he just looks a bowler not in very confidence. He's not very confident right now. And I also think that Josh Butler, the way Josh Butler uses Adil Rashid is not exactly how Morgan used to use him. because
Hmm.
we used to see even when Adil Rashid used to go for 40-45 runs in 3 overs,
Yeah.
Morgan would give him one of the most critical overs in the match, and he used to come in and pick up one or
You
two
know,
wickets, and
one
that
thing which is missing is that there's a lot of, with Morgan, he used to take a lot of risk with Adil Rashid to bring
yeah,
him in the power play, to use him as a matchup kind of a bowler, especially when Virat Kohli used to come to bat. There was a matchup with Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli had a negative matchup with Adil Rashid. He used to use him there, use him in the power play, use him in the death overs, which we're not seeing with Butler. You know, Adil Rashid used to pick up a lot of wickets bowling in the 16th over or the 17th over in a T20 game, which I'm not quite saying with Josh Butler. I know he's been using him in middle overs, which is quite good. But also with Adil Rashid, just to talk about Adil Rashid, the bowler, let's not blame Josh Butler himself alone. I also think Adil Rashid's reps of the ball and his trajectory has really, wavered. He was one of the most consistent bowlers to land the ball in a particular place over and over again. Its consistency in landing has really gone off. That's one of the reasons why batters are able to line up against him. And Australia with the excessive amount of bounce, what's happening with leg spinners is that they're not able to get the ball to hit the stumps more often in Asian conditions or even in England, the balls which used to hit the stumps a lot more is not hitting in Australia because it's getting that excessive amount of bounce. Whereas if you're bowling in stump length, if you're bowling in stump line, batters can absolutely play free flowing against you. They can line up against you and go for a hoik, and which means they're going to clear you more often than not. Especially for leg spinners who are slower through the air, you have only except Asranga, and Asranga has also not really performed well against bigger teams. He's only
yeah.
performed well against the smaller nations. He has not really come up. Tomorrow is going to be one of his bigger tests against an English team who are coming in form. And even Hasaranga against Australia wasn't impressive. He was the
And
most
this
expensive
English
ball
team
of the
has
day.
plenty of left-handers in their camp as well. There is
No,
David
as I
Malan, Moeen
mentioned,
Ali.
this
Yeah,
English team will play leg spinners a lot better because Liam Livingston loves playing leg spinners. Josh Butler has taken on Hasaranga on multiple occasions, and Moeen Ali is a very good player to spin. So I think they will use the matchups and they will use the players who have positive matchups against Hasaranga as well. So that's where I believe it's going to be tough for Sri Lanka to counter English batters if they get going. If it's a good batting deck tomorrow, then God save Sri Lankan team is what I'll say because it's going to be tough. And Rob Key has a comment on this. Rob Key says he's back again. Tomorrow I'm going to savor some Lankan seafood curries. So are my boys going to eat alive the Lankan team? What do you think about that? Do you think England are going to absolutely dominate over Sri Lanka by any chance, given all the matchups, given the data which we have in our hand, and given the positive net run rate as well?
yeah. I think England are the strong favorites heading into this game. But as you said at the start of the live, this Sri Lankan team is very unpredictable. This is the Pakistan of 2019, 2020. On their days, they can go in, beat India, beat Australia, beat England. But when it's not that day, they'll go on to lose to Namibia and Afghanistan in one-sided matches. And those matches were not even close. It was one-sided defeats for Sri Lanka in the game against Namibia and Afghanistan in the Asia Cup as well. So there are days where Sri Lanka will falter. They'll just hope that tomorrow is not that day because uh, frankly they have nothing to lose. They can come in, they can put in a brave performance, and I think when they have nothing to lose, Sri Lanka have done a better job. And this you don't expect this sort of a performance from Sri Lanka in ICC tournaments because whenever we see Sri Lanka in ICC tournaments, we see them dominate. This has been the case over the past few years that they haven't right after the transition, they haven't found the right balance to sort of take them to ICC glory. But I think it's still work in progress, and I think as we give them another 1 or 2 years, I think this balance, this same combination can come in and be a better cricketer. And also there were lots and lots of injuries in the Sri Lankan camp, so they were not a very stable team this time around. And to add to that, the pitches and the conditions were not really helping Sri Lanka in this, because these are not pitches and areas that you expect in subcontinent conditions. And also, just bringing the debate or topic back to Adil Rashid, what do you think? I think right after the time that he came back from his pilgrimage or the break, I think right after that he has not looked in. He hasn't come back to shape or form, and he has struggled. And I think stats
It's
will
tough actually.
yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, stats will definitely tell a story about that. But as whatever I've been able to see of him, or at least to understand from his bowling, people have looked to attack him a lot more. It's not that people are trying to play him out. He's gone for runs. He's gone for maybe even on wickets, which is conducive to spin. He's gone for runs. So that's a worrying sign for Adil Rashid, the bowler. The best example is the Gabba match, which just got over England versus New Zealand, where Sandner and Sodhi in tandem bowled 8 overs, 48 runs. But Adil Rashid alone leaked close to 9 runs per over. So it's been the case. For example, what is happening is he's bowling, and I'm telling you again, his lines have been very wayward since the last 3 months or 4 months, especially. Hence, his wicket taking ability has gone out of the window as well. His biggest strength was bowling in a tight line, bowling bowling very consistently on a line which is middle and off, maybe leg and middle, then turning it from there on, making the batters to come and play for the loop. His biggest strength is the loop. You can't say that Adil Rashid is the bowler who's going to bowl faster through the air. He has got a strength of bowling, having the loopy ball. He's still one of the most classical leg spinners out there, and his trajectory as well. His trajectory has gotten a little more quicker, is what I believe. He's gotten a little more flatter
Yeah,
compared to what he was. It has to do a lot with confidence as well. Once your trajectory gets flatter, which clearly says that as a leg spinner, you're underconfident. And for a bowler who's been bowling in loopy trajectory, who likes to deceive the batter in the air, that's been one of the biggest strengths of Adil Rashid in the limited overs format. And that's why he was very successful from the period of 2015 and 2019. He was England's linchpin in that World Cup glory as well. He used to pick up wickets
yeah,
all the time. Whenever Morgan used to give him the ball from 10 to 45 overs in a 50-over game, he used to pick up wickets. In a T20 game, after the power play or in the power play when he is brought in, he knew where to exactly ball. He had a very good googly, and he could turn the ball sharply on wickets which are conducive to spin. So it was tough to hit him away. One of the reasons why he even got picked in the IPL, if I remember, was this. He came
yeah.
for Punjab Kings for a season, and he was replacing Ravi Bishnoi for a brief period of time because they believe that this guy has got a potential to really be a match winner. But I don't know what really happened to him in the last 4 months. All what I'm saying is from a technical point of view, I'm not seeing him change a lot. From the mindset point of view, I'm
Probably he
seeing him
has
change a lot.
gotten a bit quicker, and he balls a bit flatter. I think that is the only points that he has changed technical wise. Other than that, I think it's the same. And once you get 3 or 4 wickets, see, you can pick up wickets of poor deliveries. You have players who pick up wickets of poor deliveries, and you just need that one game where you pick up 3 or 4 wickets, and suddenly you'll get your confidence back. And the next day probably he'll loop the ball a bit more and deceive the batsman in the air. I think Adil Rashid is a better bowler when he tries to deceive the batsman on the air, and when he
Mhm.
tries to bowl this sort of flat deliveries and hopes that the batsman miss times and gets dismissed on the deep. I think that is not when he's most effective at.
Oh, he is. He's much better when he does that, and that's one thing which I've seen of Adil Rashid time and time again as well. He is one of the better ballers out there. But talking about that, let's move to the fantasy segment. Let's bring the vice captain and captaincy options what we've given for tomorrow's team. What do you think about this, Sandipani? Because we have gone with Hasaranga and Sam Curran. Sam Curran as your captain and vice captaincy option. You can make either of them as captain or vice captaincy option because they are
Yeah.
valuable players out there. They can give you runs with the bat and runs wickets with the ball, especially Asalanka with the wicket taking form he's been in. He can be a very useful player, as already one of our viewers have said is MVP when it comes to Sam Curran. Sam Curran is also very effective, right, when it comes to his ability to change the match by just coming in and bowling in the death overs, bowling in the middle overs, and Asalanka with bowling in the middle overs as well. How do you see these two options as your vice captains and captaincy options in the fantasy segment?
I think this would be the safest of picks with the form and the record that they have. I mean, Wanindu Hasaranga has been brilliant in Australia. He has a spectacular record in World Cups as well. He is good against England as well. If you see at the economy and the bowling average, I think these are phenomenal. And also talking about Sam Curran, the same thing with the ball in hand. I think averaging below 10, picking up 5 wickets in 3 innings at an economy rate of less than 5.5 against Sri Lanka. So both of these players have brilliant records against each other, against the oppositions, and they have had a spectacular World Cup so far. And also with these two, you have that additional boost that they can provide on the field and with the bat as well. So I think if you consider the most value for money cricketers, if I can use that term, I think
Yeah.
Varindo Hasaranga and Sam Curran are your value for money cricketers. I mean, they'll do everything for you. And I think with these two, I think another player that I can probably add in this mix is Dhananjay De Silva, because he'll come into bat at number 3. probably will be used with the ball as well. 1 or 2 overs. He is a gun
Yeah.
fielder, fields in the deep,
I mean, he can
probably
be
in
used
deep
with
middle
the
range.
excessive number of left-handers in English team. He can be a
Yeah,
useful option in tomorrow's game in Sydney, where there's a little bit of help from the deck as well. But let's pull out the 11 what we have for tomorrow. We have DGS in our team as an all-round pick, but let's see how we've gone. We have picked Kushal Mendes on the very fact that he can be very dangerous in a game where he has nothing to lose. And tomorrow is the best option for him to come out, smashing. They picked up one batter. That's the only batter we've gone with. I think we can only pick one batter. We can pick how many? What is the minimum amount of batters needed? I think one or three.
I think it's 2 or 3.
Either way,
Either way.
he's one
No,
of
I
the
think
batters.
what people can do is they can drop probably Kushal Mendes
There will
from
be
the
two
team if
batters.
they
There
want.
will be two batters. So what you can do is you can drop maybe Liam Livingston,
No,
maybe
no,
or
no.
Chris Wood.
Why risk Liam Livingston? We can probably drop Kushal Mendes, and in place of Kushal Mendes, we can have either Rajapaksha because he has looked to be in some sort of form when he got the opportunity, or probably Asalanka as well.
Yeah,
And if you
no,
actually
Arsalanka is a very
trust,
good choice.
yeah, Asalanka
Arsalanka
is a
can
good
be a
choice,
very
and
good
also
choice.
I think David Malan will also be a good choice, and Alex Hills as well. All of them have come good in one game or the other. I'm talking about David Malan to be a very left field sort of a choice because he hasn't come good in this World Cup so far. But the quality cricketer that he is, I think it's a matter of time when he comes good. And also, I think he hasn't got the right opportunities because England have used a lot of floaters because with the team that England has, with the all rounders they have in display, Liam
Yeah.
Livingston, Moeen Ali, Ben Stokes. They can use all these players ahead of David Malan. And if England does not lose a wicket early, I don't see David Malan coming into bat at number 3, especially because Sri Lanka can just go on and operate in the middle with Mahesh Theekshana and Dhananjay De Silva. And the left-hander will find it difficult to get going.
Absolutely. Saini has asked, "What's our semi-final prediction?" I'll ask that question to you, Sandeep. What is your semi-final prediction?
See, ideally, I think India is going to face England and New Zealand is going to face South Africa. I think that is the most ideal circumstance right now. The
I think
second best, yeah,
it's my humble request to all the fans from the neighborhood as well. Just make sure you don't have that kind of a expectation which really breaks your heart. It's good to rely on teams, but you're relying on teams who are way weaker, Netherlands and Zimbabwe. Because the kind of form India has been in, India has peaked at the right time. And India knows how to jailbreak. Even that 135 game where India only posted 135 against South Africa, if India capitalized on a couple of opportunities here and there, India could have absolutely finished that game off as well. But now, having
definitely.
said that, there's always a positive thing in hoping for another team, believing in sports fantasies, believing in this dream situation. There's no harm in that. But make sure it's much more real when you do it. You don't break your heart at the end of the day. So what is more pragmatic is to believe that South Africa will defeat Netherlands. There is no way Netherlands are going to lose to South Africa. And if that game is getting washed out, then Pakistan game also will get affected because it's going to be played in the same venue. So let's be very honest. I think South Africa will go on to defeat Netherlands, which is I don't. I think we're then not right. Writing South Africa in the right space because South Africa is such a good team. Though they had a loss against
South Africa
Pakistan.
is one of the best teams. If you ask me, between New Zealand and South Africa, who is going to go into the finals, I would have my bets on South Africa in this 2015 World Cup semi-final rematch. We
Yeah,
can have a
absolutely.
rematch like that. Yeah.
ट्रू एबल अपसेट भी हो सकता है मतलब अपसेट जरूर हो सकता है ऐसी बात नहीं है कि अपसेट नहीं हो सकता है मतलब स्पोर्ट्स में हम देखा है पाकिस्तान के साथ भी अपसेट ही हुआ है जिम्बाब्वे जब खेलने आए पर मैं बोल रहा हूँ अभी जो फॉर्म में टीम है जो फॉर्म में इंडिया है जो फॉर्म में साउथ अफ्रीका है और ऑपोजिशन को भी देखिए मतलब जिम्बाब्वे अभी हार के आ रहा है नेदरलैंड से और जिम्बाब्वे हारा है बांग्लादेश से जो जिम्बाब्वे था
Yeah,
उस दिन
I think
फॉर्म में
Kapil Verma somewhere mentioned this as well that India should be careful against Zimbabweans because they are riding high on confidence. But Kapil, I think they are not actually riding high on confidence. They were riding very high on confidence when they beat Pakistan by 1 run. But after that, they have had a close loss to Bangladesh, and that game against Netherlands was
Yeah,
not
after
really
that
up
loss
to
to
the
Bangladesh
standards
just
that they
really
have set.
demoralized them in a big way. जो देखेगा तो जिम्बाब्वे जो कॉन्फिडेंट जो जिम्बाब्वे से उतरे थे उस दिन और जब क्वालिफायर्स में जो टीम को हम देखे थे उस नेदरलैंड्स वाले मैच में वो कोई भी कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं था क्योंकि उन लोगों को पता था कि उन लोग ऑलमोस्ट आउट है वर्ल्ड कप से बांग्लादेश मैच काफी क्लोज हो सकता था बांग्लादेश मैच जो उन लोग जीत भी सकता था जब वो
Yeah.
बांग्लादेश मैच जीता था तो शायद नीदरलैंड्स के खिलाफ अच्छे टीम दिख सकता था, क्योंकि उन लोगों का पोटेंशियल तो काफी अच्छा है नीदरलैंड से तो।
और
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 वो
अगर
तो
जिम्बाब्वे बांग्लादेश और नीदरलैंड्स को हरा देते तो अभी जिम्बाब्वे 7 पॉइंट पे होते, तो अभी वो
हाँ,
लोग
और
ऑलमोस्ट
पाकिस्तान
क्वालिफाई
और
कर चुके होते।
बांग्लादेश दोनों आउट भी हो सकता था उस वक्त तक। तो
हाँ,
यही यही बात
डेफिनेटली।
है कि सेमीफाइनल में भी क्वालिफाई कर सकता, सेमीफाइनल में जरूर क्वालिफाई हो सकता था जिम्बाब्वे इस इस पॉइंट्स के हिसाब से। पर यही है कि जब एक एक लॉस आ जाता है ना, फिर उस हार से आगे बढ़ना काफी मुश्किल होता है। पाकिस्तान के साथ भी हम यही देखा। पाकिस्तान के साथ एक अच्छी बात है कि जब वो सबसे नीचे गिरते हैं ना, फिर वो लोग ऊपर ही चढ़ के आता है। हम हमेशा देखे हैं पाकिस्तान के साथ, 92 वर्ल्ड कप में भी, 2017 चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी में भी। एक अच्छी ट्रेड है पाकिस्तान के साथ, जब सब लोग पाकिस्तान को राइट ऑफ करते हैं, जब उस वक्त पाकिस्तान का सबसे बेस्ट क्रिकेट देखने को मिलता है। सो उसी वजह से मैं बोल रहा हूँ, जब साउथ अफ्रीका के खिलाफ किसी ने चांस नहीं दिया था पाकिस्तान को, और पाकिस्तान का रिकॉर्ड भी साउथ अफ्रीका के खिलाफ काफी अच्छा है। मतलब वर्ल्ड कप आप देखिए, दो
दे
उन्नीस
दे
सौ
आर अनबीटन इन T20
निन्यानवे
वर्ल्ड
से
कप्स।
1999 से अब तक तो अच्छी रिकॉर्ड रहा है पाकिस्तान का साउथ अफ्रीका के खिलाफ। और उसी वजह से पाकिस्तान थोड़ा स्लाइड फेवरेट तो था ही, और सिडनी में भी खेल रहा था उस मैच। यही यही वजह से बोलो, जो एशियन टीम्स है ना, एशियन टीम सिडनी में खेलना पसंद करेगा। इसी वजह से श्रीलंका इंग्लैंड मैच में भी श्रीलंका को थोड़ा एडवांटेज हम दे सकते हैं,
और
क्योंकि
इसमें
श्रीलंका
कोई शक नहीं है, जब पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश खेलेंगे तो पाकिस्तान क्लियर फेवरेट्स होंगे, और मेरे को नहीं लगता पाकिस्तान को कोई दिक्कत होगा इस बांग्लादेश टीम को हराने में। बांग्लादेश के कुछ कुछ प्लेयर्स अभी हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि बांग्लादेश आर विल बी हाई ऑन कॉन्फिडेंस, बिकॉज दे पुट अप अ स्ट्रॉन्ग फाइट अगेंस्ट इंडिया, एंड
हाँ
वन माइट आर्ग्यू दैट दे वर एट सम स्टेजेस विनिंग अगेंस्ट इंडिया, बिकॉज
जी जी
बारिश होता है, मतलब बारिश होने के बाद अगर मैच चालू नहीं होता तो बांग्लादेश जीत चुके होते।
जी बिल्कुल
ऑल्सो मैच चालू होने के बाद भी बांग्लादेश के बाद पूरा एडवांटेज था जीतने का, वो वाला। तो
बिल्कुल
बांग्लादेश विल
बिल्कुल।
बी हाई ऑन कॉन्फिडेंस। आई कांट से द सेम फॉर जिम्बाब्वे, सो आई थिंक
देख,
आई
पहले बात तो एक ही, पाकिस्तान को बांग्लादेश से हराना है, बांग्लादेश को हराना है। और
हाँ।
बांग्लादेश भी जीतने के लिए कोशिश करें, क्योंकि बांग्लादेश को भी पता है नेट रन रेट के वजह से, जब बांग्लादेश भी मतलब यही कोशिश करेंगे कि जिम्बाब्वे वाले इंडिया को हरा दे, और यही भी पाकिस्तान वाले भी चाहेंगे कि जिम्बाब्वे वाले इंडिया को हरा दे। पर बांग्लादेश को भी पता होगा कि उस दिन जब वो पाकिस्तान से जीतेंगे, उन लोगों का एक चांस रहेगा ही रहेगा इंडिया से ऊपर जाने
हाँ,
के लिए, उस
definitely,
पॉइंट टेबल में।
definitely, definitely. I think Bangladesh are also in with a chance. I mean, very slim chance. If we give Pakistan the probability of 22.22% of them qualifying, I think for Bangladesh it will be somewhere close to 5% to 6%, because they'll have plenty of things to go their way in terms of net run rate as well. That is why we can't actually statistically put it into a probability, क्योंकि net run rate पे हम लोगों के हाथ में कुछ नहीं रहता है। Net run rate होता है एब्सोल्युटली प्लेयर के परफॉर्मेंस के ऊपर। हारना जीतना फिर भी हम लोग प्रोबेबिलिटी में डाल सकते हैं कि आइदर हारेगा या जीतेगा या बारिश होगा, बट हम
जी,
लोग नेट रन रेट पे
बिल्कुल। और
सेम
इस
चीज
वर्ल्ड
बोल
कप में
सकते हैं।
आयशा में अपसेट तो बिल्कुल हो सकता है, बिकॉज़ आई एम सेइंग व्हाई देयर कुड बी एन अपसेट इज मेनली बिकॉज़ सी इन T20 format it shouldn't be considered as an upset because the margins are very close, because a smaller format. I also mentioned in the last live how once a format is reduced in the number of overs, the margin between the teams get even finer, which means anybody in the top 8 or top 9 can defeat each other on the given day. It shouldn't be an upset. It should be a norm. And that's where T20 model is heading to. And that's why T20 cricket has become one of the best cricketing format out there. And that's why everybody's hooked on to this format as well. It's become tactically more evolved. It's become one of the most tactically astute formats in terms of the way how tactically and data driven it has become in the last 6 or 5 years. It's a wonderful format to be involved. It's a wonderful format to analyze deeper into. So that's why I personally think, it shouldn't be an upset. You can expect these kind of results, but I'm just
Especially
saying based
when
on
you are when the contest is so close and you are having so many qualifying rounds to reach this Super 12 stage. So Super 12, like once you have reached this Super 12 stage, I think yeah, you'll have on paper there are teams that have actually pulled up a surprise and managed to get into this Super 12s. But apart from those one or two teams, I think in this group probably Netherlands is one team that you would expect to. You won't expect if Netherlands goes on to defeat South Africa, that will be a huge upset. But if Bangladesh goes on to defeat Pakistan, or probably even Zimbabwe goes on to defeat this, because India we can rate highly because India are number one on the T20I rankings list, and Zimbabwe are probably 10th or 11th. But when it comes to Bangladesh and Pakistan, both are in top eight. So that when we talk about it, that won't be a major upset in terms of cricket. And Bangladesh versus Pakistan, and in general Pakistan versus Afghanistan as well. we also spoke about Australia versus Afghanistan. If Afghanistan would have pulled it off, it wouldn't have been an upset. We
Yeah,
we are
they are in
at
top
that
list.
stage of the game right now, and Afghanistan cricket has reached that stage that right now we expect them to win against the top eight nations, because other than that you
They
don't
ideally
justify.
should. They
Yeah,
ideally
other
should.
than that you don't justify your automatic qualification. Why have you qualified automatically if you can't beat one of the top teams in the world?
Absolutely. India will win easily against Zimbabwe. India should ideally win easily against Zimbabwe, Aisha, and I think it would also, Indian players will know that. Indian players will definitely know that it's not gonna be a cakewalk, and they'll be even more serious. Because this Indian team is much more determined, they're much more calmer. They are eluded by a ICC trophy for the last 9 years. जो भी लोग बोल रहे हैं ना, बीसीसीआई लोगों ने आईसीसी खरीद लिया है. If BCI would have bought ICC, at least India would have had three more trophies in the meanwhile. Nothing has gone India's way in
Definitely,
the last
it's a
9 years.
long run without having any ICC trophies,
Yeah, it
especially
is
because
nothing has gone
we have had
India's way.
so many ICC tournaments in between. There
If you're
was one in
asking a
2014,
team which has
2016,
been,
2017, 2015.
yeah, absolutely. If a team which has been heavily affected by conditions in ICC major finals, that's been India. You know the number of finals they've
Apart
lost.
from 2018 and 2020, we have had ICC tournaments right from 2013 to 2022.
Absolutely.
So
In
no
that case,
success
India
in
should have
semi
won the
tournaments.
Asia Cup as well. India should have bought the Asia Cup. Umpires would have been in India's favor. Let's talk about ICC World Cup semi-final where Virat Kohli is LBW. If India would have bought that match, I'm just saying to please these people who are absolutely delusional, people who really believe in these kind of nonsense. But I really want to put a message out to them. If India would have bought that match, as per whatever you state, Virat Kohli would have been given not out. As per umpire's call, Virat Kohli would have stayed not out and that game would have gone anywhere. So that's my point. It's never easy, to be honest, to buy, to dominate and believe in all this kind of nonsense. You have to really earn your stripes to win an ICC trophy. If it was so easy to win an ICC trophy, India would have had the most number of ICC trophies right now. But that is not the case. India is still searching for the ICC glory after the last. It's almost been a decade. It's been 9 long years, and
Yeah,
it's been 15 years since you last won that T20 World Cup. So this has been one format India has not been able to excel at all. You've not made the playoffs in most of the occasions. After 2007, you made the playoffs. You made the knockouts in 2012, no, 2014. So you missed out on
14, 14.
qualification for almost, 3 to 4
Three
tests. You only made
tournaments. We missed it in 2009, 2010,
yeah, so you have
2012,
only
and then
made
we made it on
knockouts
20.
in three occasions out of the eight tournaments which has taken place. 2007,
Yeah.
2014, 2016, 2021. You got on the group stage. This year, you're yet awaiting for the results. So India has not been the most successful T20I teams when it comes to the World Cups. At least you have had one tournament and two knockouts, one final and one semi-final loss. So that's your best finishers in T20 World Cups. So India will be, of course, hoping that they are able to cross the line, go to the semi-final, wait for who are going to come and play against them. India will be hoping it is either of England or Australia. It doesn't matter for them at this point. You have to beat the best to be the champions.
I think on that group, I think we are clear on who. I mean, on this group at least, on the New Zealand group, we are clear that New Zealand are qualifying as the in the pole position. So the fight is for the second position. So whoever tops in the Indian group, the India, South Africa, Pakistan group, whoever tops in that group is going to face either of England or Australia. We are not going
Yeah.
to see any change, and that is either going to be India or South Africa. Pakistan can't finish on top position in that group. So it's going to be
Okay.
either India or South Africa versus England or Australia, and then New
Hmm.
Zealand is going to face either South Africa or Pakistan.
I
I
think we
think
just
these are
wait
the
for
only
another
scenarios.
48 more hours. Now, less than 48 hours. Just wait for another 35 more hours. You will know
Yeah,
where this is going to. So I know it's the most interesting end to a T20 World Cup in a long, long time, and you absolutely love
and it's
this.
the third last day, and we have just had our first semi-finalist. And I think
Yeah.
congratulations to New Zealand. I think we weren't really expecting New
I mean,
Zealand to
we
come
will
out
talk
so well.
about them on a
Yeah,
special show before the finals and
definitely.
semi-finals and everything. So, but let's talk about the fantasy team out here. Hasaranga, Tikshana, Markwood, and Chris Wokes. How do you think that those choices are, especially when it comes to? I think Hasaranga, you can put them in the all-rounder category because then you can go with three ballers and five all-rounders, which is not a bad thing. But we have asked you to change in Kushal Mendes and go in with maybe Alex Hales or maybe even go in with a Banuka Rajapaksa
Asalanka.
or even
You can go
Asalanka.
with
Up to you.
Rajapaksha, Asalanka, Alex Hales, but tomorrow I have a gut feeling that David Malan will come in early. Probably Hales or Butler, one of them will
But you know
get
what? I don't
dismissed
think so
early.
as well because of the very fact that they might just put an offie against David Malan with the likes of Tikshana. he struggles against mystery spin. So Tikshana
Yeah.
can trouble him, and also Dhananjay De Silva can trouble him with the ball being taken away from him. So I don't think David Malan will be put in at number 3. He might be coming in as a floater depending on situation. But if they lose an early wicket, yes, he will come in. But if they
Yeah,
don't, if
and
they're
that
able
is
to
why I
cross the
feel
power
I
play,
have this gut feeling that tomorrow England is going to lose 1 wicket early, and then David Malan is going to come good for the team.
yes, absolutely. See, Aisha don't have to worry about these losses. Every year there's an ICC trophy from now on. So you can win one of those and be happy, especially the one which is happening in 2025 is something which Pakistan will be eyeing on. It's happening in Pakistan, the home ground of, in the shores of Pakistan. Hopefully it goes on to happen in Pakistan if there is no political tension, and which means Pakistan will be in better chance. And also in the ODI World Cup, I think Pakistan will be in with a chance because it's happening in Asian conditions, and even in the West Indies T20 World Cup, because the conditions are going to grip a little bit. Conditions are going to be more subcontinental like now in West Indies like ever before. So Pakistan
Yeah.
will be there in with a chance as well. But these are fantasy predictions. We are going to go in with Tacharanga as an all rounder. So we'll have 3 bowlers, 5 all rounders, and 1 wicket keeper. We are still saying that Kushal Mendis should be dropped and try to go in with someone like a
I mean,
the
Kushal Mendes
Bhanuka
is going to be a
Rajapaksa.
risky pick. If you want to go with a risky team, then probably drop Josh Butler. But that
Yeah,
would be a huge amount of risk. So probably for being on the safe side, you can drop Kushal Mendes and try a batter on uh, his place. Probably
absolutely.
Rajapaksha or Asalanka, ideally.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, I think we'll end the show right here. I think this is our fantasy tip segment. I know it's a short segment. We don't want to come and discuss a lot
No,
more.
but if I am going to make a team, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to drop Josh Butler and I'm going to keep David Malan for tomorrow.
Not
I
bad.
have this intuition that he's
But
going
who
to
will you
come
go
good
in as a
tomorrow.
wicket keeper with?
Kushal Mendes. If I have to change anyone, I'll go with Kushal Mendes and then I'll do that.
Not bad.
because
Not bad.
Mark Wood will come into bowl probably in the third or fourth over. We have seen that Butler has not given him the ball early on, and I think Kushal Mendes loves to play against some of the slower pieces. I mean, not slower pieces. I mean, this England team does not actually have that pace of in excess of 145 if you bar somebody like Mark Wood. Chris Wokes is
But he's
fast.
been the most
So is
effective
Sam
bowler.
Curran. Yeah,
Hmm. But he's been the most effective bowler for them as well in
yeah,
terms of its impact on the
on the
opposition
team.
and
Yeah.
his ability to
So I think if
actually
Mark Wood
share the
is
battles
not
with the
very
team.
successful tomorrow, then probably Abel, I would agree with you. Sri Lanka are in with a chance to uh, topple England over.
And there's a huge chance because it's been played in Sydney. If it was playing in on any other ground in Australia, I would have said England will start as the favourites. But tomorrow it's played in Sydney. You already saw that in the Pakistan game as well. The ball will grip and turn there. And that's where likes of Hasaranga and Tikshana will come in handy, and also DDS, Dhananjay De Silva will come in handy against the number of left-handers England has got. England will be very keen on using their matchups tomorrow. It will be an intense tactical battle. Remember, it's going to be Chris Silverwood against his former team. So it's going to be heavy a tactical battle as to how it will be played out. It's going to be an
Definitely.
interesting game of cricket. I think it's going to be. I know
See,
Sri Lanka
England will
are
be
out.
going in as strong favorites, but definitely expect a
I think
very close encounter.
Chris Silverwood will have a point to prove against his former team. This is going to be his motivation. I know Sri Lanka are knocked out, but it's going to be an interesting tactical battle to watch out for. So we will be covering that post game, and we'll be coming for day after tomorrow's games as well later tomorrow. So keep watching us. Subscribe to our channel. Do share our videos, guys. Aisha and everyone, please do share our videos with your friends so that we can grow as a channel and help you bring some exciting content through the course of the World Cup and after the World Cup as well. We'll be here 24/7 every day of the year trying to bring you the best action possible across the sporting world. So good night. Have a good time, all of you.
Yeah. Good night, guys. We have a very exciting 2 days ahead, actually.